Hello guys, we're doing a quick update here on the Bitcoin 16-day dev chart. The 16-day dev chart has printed red on that candle on the 16th. You can see in previous cases, I referred to this in my previous video on the dev chart, there had been a bounce after the 16-day. In both cases, however, the 16-day only flashed when we had hit the yellow line or basically and pulled back during that time. If I was to zoom in on there, that's when the 16-day flashed. We had hit the yellow line and pulled back up. On the 2018-day, once we got the red flash, the price was on this candle. It had already come down and hit the yellow line, and there was a small green candle following that, and after that it was downwards. In the 21 case, as you have noted, it was a bit of a higher run up, and then the collapse came. Now the 25 is different. If we look at Bitcoin's history, then every time the red has flashed, that has signaled effectively the end of the bull market, although we had some spikes, as you saw in 2021. Basically, that was the beginning of 2022. Now, this is different in that we did not come down to the yellow moving average. Is there any hope? The only hope is basically if it becomes a macro bull move, but the stock market is nearly doubled in the last 3 years, which means the stock market still has a chance, but the risks are high at this stage to run to over 7,000, in which case Bitcoin might, but historically this has been 100% indicated, but if the environment changes to macro bullish for a final blow-off top, I know David Hunter thinks there might still be a blow-off top on the stock market, then there could still be a chance, but I don't want to get hopes up too many. As far as historically, you see the problem we've had. But this is different in that we have not come down to the moving average when the red flash came about. Now, if we go and we look at something like let's just have a look at SPX. Now you can see on SPX there was a large move in that the SPX, when it became bullish, and the question is whether Bitcoin is not perhaps becoming more like the SPX with its large market cap. Where we did have the red flash, we did proceed down to the yellow line, and then there was a recovery. Yeah, it was a massive drop, 3,400 to 2,000. So in general, when the red flashes, even on something like the SPX on the 16-day, you're gonna get a pullback. Let's just see. Yeah, on the SPX it flashed on this candle that already came very low there, went up, and it still came lower. You can note there was the red flash on the SPX, on that one that had already touched the yellow moving average, but it proceeded higher. So this is basically your hopium in that case, that it might become a type of, look at this, where it fell right through. So generally the 16-day is not, definitely when it turns red, it's not a bullish signal. If you go above the 16-day again, then it becomes bullish. So some people will rather sit out and wait and see if we break above the 16-day again. Price might be quite high. The SPX, it's not, it's a bit of a difference. But again, if you entered the XPX there on the green on 1000 and you then exit 2000 and re-enter at 2200, that is actually good trading. That is good trading, because you basically doubled there. Then you take your profits and you wait and see if there's a collapse, or if it's continuing, you buy in a little bit more. You've already made that 100% profit. So those are basically what we can have a look at. To go back to Bitcoin, you'll see that it's uncharacteristic for Bitcoin to not hit the yellow moving average. Now, it's entirely possible, as you've seen, that in other cases where it does go down. Still, however, Bitcoin seasonality, Bitcoin usually makes a top in December. And the question is whether the stock market is still going up higher with the quantitative tightening stopping in December. But in general, this has been problematic, and it's not such an easy trade as it is on the SPX, because you'll note if you exit here, then you have to basically re-enter once you're only above there. Of course, you can use a shorter time frame than the 16-day for a re-entry. Of course, nothing's financial advice. I'm just telling you a lot of options that are available. You can see in general on the 4-day, once Bitcoin goes above the 4-day again, that is when the next upward move starts. But it's already turned red. It's coming down there. We can look at Bitcoin on the 3-day. I did give you the 3-day chart as well. And the 3-day chart is one of your best in this case. And generally, if we go back above the 3-day, you can see the 3-day went red. Now it's saying to you, usually after that 3-day, we have bounced back, but here we close red underneath. So all the warning signs are there of a crash. So a lot of people now talk about this on 10, 1, 11 area, and this is a very important area. If Bitcoin can manage to go above there and turn green again, then we are more likely to have that run up like we see on the 16-day on the SPX. So how you want to play it is up to you. Some people would wait. If we look at the 16-day, I've noted that with the initial red on Bitcoin specifically, you had a green candle following the red candle. What we said about that was when it closed red. Where am I now? Now I'm on 16-minute. I'm thinking, what's going on here? I'm hunting the 16-day, not the 16-minute. Now, where's my chart gone now? Oh, I don't know what's going on here, guys. It's coming back. Here's the chart's coming back. Apologies for that. And what we got here is, in both cases, we had in 2018 a very small green candle there following the first red flash, which actually gave us a green again on the chart. And there's similarly here, there was quite a run up still, but we never managed to get back above. We only had a little bit of a run up. You can see there was the turning red, following candle was green. So most traders might still wait the 16 days, because so far historically there was a green 16-day candle following, and perhaps in the 16 days we might break above that 3-day Bitcoin if we're really lucky, if there is still an extension of the cycle. Because if in that 16 days we can get to where we're back green, this could change a lot of things. And I think that gives you a good idea of what the possible options here are. Of course, historical patterns do not necessarily guarantee that this will happen in future. But so far on that 16-day, we were followed by a 16-day candle that went up. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it's given you some possible insights. Trade at your own risk. Have a great day.